Hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm headed into New York City to hang out with Laura Sebastian, who is the author of the Ash Princess Trilogy. This video is kindly being sponsored by Get Underlined for the release of the third book in the Ash Princess Trilogy, Ember Queen, which is in stores now, so the entire series is out and completely bingeable. Today, Laura and I are going to be baking what I can only expect to be some really delicious treats, and we're going to be talking about her life as an author and the Ash Princess Trilogy, so I'm really excited to take you guys along with me. So I'm here with Laura Sebastian, and what are we going to be making today, Laura?
We're going to be making some salted grapefruit shortbread.
Salted grapefruit shortbread.
So I made these for my launch party for Ember Queen because they're they're good, they're delicious, and also with the icing matches the cover pretty well, the hot pink cover.
I'm so excited.
Thanks. I love the hot pink. It's like my favorite thing.
I know that the cover is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's why I think this one is my favorite.
I really like it because I feel like a lot of times we tend to try to like steer away from girly stuff on like fantasy covers to be like, oh, we have to appeal to like everyone. And I'm like, I kind of love that they were like, no, we're gonna make it hot pink and you can deal with it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are sort of the ingredients we're gonna be working with? And like what, I have no clue. I'm not like a proper baker in any sense of the word. So like I'm learning from you today.
So these are really, really easy. And they don't use a lot of ingredients. So all we really have is we have butter that's been softened. We have some flour. We have grapefruit zest and grapefruit juice. And then we have 2 bowls of powdered sugar, one for the shortbread and then one for the icing. And a little bit of vanilla extract. And some flaky sea salt to top it with.
Sounds amazing. So is it sort of like we just combine it all together?
So we're gonna start by putting some stuff in the food processor. You can do it by hand, but I think the food processor really like saves you a lot of trouble and also gets the right consistency pretty easily. Otherwise you need to use like a pastry cutter and you're like, it takes a lot of work. A lot of work, a lot of arm strength. I tried to do it by hand before. I would not recommend it. Save yourself some trouble. Yeah. So we're gonna put everything in the food processor, roll it out, pop it in the oven. The oven's preheating to 350, and then when it comes out, we ice it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if you guys are interested in making these salted grapefruit cookies yourself, I will link the recipe in the description. What is first?
We're gonna put the butter. This is half a cup of butter.
I didn't know a full stick of butter is a half a cup. I'm already learning so much today.
Fun fact. So then a lot of grapefruit zest I'm gonna add in there. The recipe says 1 tablespoon, but like I feel like that's like more of a suggestion. I like a good like pop of flavor, so I usually do a bit more. And then the 1/3 cup of powdered sugar.
And then the flour.
The flour. And the extract, I think? Yes. And then the extract. Oh, and then a pinch of kosher salt.
I love the science of baking. It's just so cool.
So all you really have to do is just dump it into your pan, and I already sprayed it with Pam so it won't stick. Get all the good stuff in there, and then you just pat it down. Yeah.
Love it. It's so easy.
Yeah. Oh, it's ridiculously easy. It's like too easy. I want to make this all the time now. You want to try?
Yeah. I'll give it a go.
Just spread it all the way out. Yeah.
I love the feeling of playing with dough. I used to love going to like Italian restaurants where they would give you just like
that was my
flour
favorite.
and water to play with.
So you could like make your own pizza.
Yeah.
And then I felt like they never used my dough. Like they would come out like the professional made, and I was like, I did that.
It was like something is off here. Yeah. Cool.
So now we're gonna take a fork and just start poking little holes.
Ooh, what did the holes do? Does it do anything?
I actually don't know. This is just in the recipe, and like I think it has to do with like releasing moisture, maybe. That sounds right?
That's interesting.
But now it goes in the oven.
Cool.
That's it.
So how long are we going to be cooking the cookies for?
About 20 minutes. 20
minutes. So while those are in the oven, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk a little bit about Ash Princess and Ember Queen.
I'm so excited.
So Laura, why don't you tell us about Ash Princess, the trilogy as a whole?
Sure. So it's the story of a captured queen who's held hostage from the time when she's 6 to the time when she's 16. And she kind of tells herself for 10 years that eventually someone will come and save her. And in the opening chapters, she realizes that no one is coming because her last hope of rescue dies. Or specifically, she kills him. I don't think that's much of a spoiler. It happens in the second chapter.
It's like, that's a big shift between someone.
But I feel like it's more interesting, right? Like,
Absolutely.
she's forced to kill him. So, like, that's in the second chapter. It's not a spoiler. So then she realizes that if she has any hope of getting out and saving her country, no one's going to do it for her. She has to do it herself. And so she starts to use her mind and the intel she's gathered over the last 10 years of living among these people to figure out her own way out.
Awesome. So now that the trilogy has been completed, I would love to know if you had to give like a word or a phrase to represent your experience writing each book.
Oh my gosh.
So like one word or phrase for each book, what would that be?
Ooh, I feel like Ash Princess would have to be lucky.
Lucky.
Because it was my 10th book, 11th maybe, that I'd written and queried and tried to get published, and none of the other ones worked. So I feel like Ash Princess was my lucky book. Like, it was the one that I think it was the first one that was good enough in a way, but it was also the first one that really hit the market right. So I think that was just like, it was lucky. That's a good word, I think, for that. Lady's Milk, I think, was challenging, because like as everyone says, the second books are a nightmare.
Yeah, second book syndrome.
Though I actually think I thought it was harder, and then I turned it into my editor, and my editor was like, this is good.
That's awesome.
but then I got like lulled into a false sense of security at my third one. And my third one, I was like, oh, this is going well, this is doing good. And then my editor was like, we need to talk. We got some work to do on this one. Well, that's so tricky. The third
one's the tricky one.
I think so, because I think in a way it's freeing, because it's not just for me, but I think for the characters as well. Like, I just really love the ending, and I think like it's like a very like freeing ending for everyone involved, really.
So what was the word or phrase?
I guess liberating. Liberating sounds better than freeing.
I love that.
So we'll say liberating.
So lucky, challenging, and liberation.
Yes.
What a story in itself. So as today we are baking some cookies, I was curious if there are any like foods or desserts that are native to Austria that come up in the book.
Yeah, so there's it's not a dessert, but they have a coffee drink that they like to drink, that it's coffee with a little bit of honey and cinnamon and milk.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, so for my first launch party, I actually made cookies that were themed to that. So there was some honey, cinnamon, and coffie in the cookies, and they were shaped like little crowns with black icing. I was very proud of them. But yeah, so that's what I always think of when I think of like Austria and how like it tastes, I guess.
Have you ever actually made the coffee yourself?
Oh yeah, no, it's based on how I like to drink my
coffee.
Oh,
is that your preferred coffee?
That's my preferred coffee.
That's
so
amazing.
like when I was writing, I was like, I'm just gonna put that in there. Yeah.
So while you are writing and reading, do you have any drinks or treats that you like to indulge in?
Oh yes. So the coffee shop that I do a lot of writing at, they have a chocolate hazelnut muffin. Oh, and that's my
gosh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's got to the point where I can't write without it, which is a problem. But it's very good. That and then cold brew. I'm like 90% cold brew at this point. Yeah.
So what is your favorite and least favorite part of the writing process? As you've been doing it for so long now. How many years have you been writing, first of all?
14.
Wow.
I think I started when I was 16.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's been a while. It's almost half my life, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But I think the reason I had to write so many books before Ash Princess is that I didn't know how to edit. I had no idea how to edit. I thought editing was just proofreading. I was like, oh, I'm editing. I'm like going through looking for typos. That's all this is. Like, I didn't know how to like actually change the story. I kind of thought that you just wrote and that was the end of it. So I think, but now that I know how to do it, I do like editing. I think it's a bit of a grass is always greener situation for me, where when I'm writing, I'd rather be editing, and when I'm editing, I'd rather be writing.
That sounds like a very classic author statement to make. So what is your like favorite part of writing and being a writer?
Ooh. I mean, I love meeting readers. I really do. Like, I love like, it's still just so weird to me that like people have read my book. And so when someone like comes up to me and like tells me that they read the book, or tells me even that they like enjoyed it, and they like mention specific things, I'm always just like, wait, this thing that like existed in my head for so long is like not in my head anymore. It's just like a very surreal experience that I have not quite gotten used to yet.
This is my favorite question to always ask authors. Like, what is one or a few of like the most impactful or memorable, silly, any sort of moments that you've had with fan interactions?
Ooh. Oh, so I had a reader bring me a book at a tour event, and the book was burnt.
Oh wow!
It was like it had like burn marks on the corners, and she was like, "I'm so sorry. Like it was my bad. I was trying to take a picture of it in a fireplace."
Oh my goodness!
Or with a candle. I can't remember if it was a fireplace or a candle. But she was trying to get like a good bookstagram shot, and like the book caught on fire, and I was like, "No, it's great. It's like
that's hilarious.
It's like performance art at this point." So I loved that.
And I feel like it's like a great book for
Yeah,
that to happen
exactly.
to. Like it's so necessary. I love that.
Oh yeah.
So in Ash Princess, survival and resilience seem to be like really strong themes throughout the books. So I'm curious, what made you want to focus on that in your story?
So I've always loved fantasy books, but I've always had a hard time seeing myself in them, because a lot of times like the heroines are you know the Katnisses, even though that's not fantasy, but like you know it's even sci-fi fantasy, it's always like you know tough girls with swords and bows and arrows and like girls fighting their way out of situations, and like as much as I loved reading about them and as much as I like admire them for their badassery, I always knew that if I were in those stories, I would die immediately.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
I would not survive the prologue. So I wanted to write a book where a girl like me could survive without like that kind of physical strength. So Thea's raised in a situation where she's never been trained. She's never had someone put a sword in her hand. She's never learned how to survive in that way. But she's learned to survive in a different way. And she's learned to like read people. She's learned to figure out how people see her and how to manipulate that. And I think that's how she survives. And so I wanted to write about that girl.
So if some of the characters from the series existed in the real world, I'm so curious as to what you think they would be like. Like, what would their style, their aesthetic be? What kind of music would they listen to? What hobbies would they have? I especially as a fantasy fan myself, I love envisioning fantasy characters in our world. So have you ever given any thought as to what they would be doing?
It's such a tough question, but I love it. I think Theo would definitely be the kind of quiet girl in school. I don't think she would draw a lot of like attention to herself. I think she'd kind of, you know, be the girl eating lunch in the library. Because I don't think she, especially at the beginning of the book, she doesn't really have friends. She has like one friend, and things get a little complicated there. So I think that would be her, and I think that's why, you know, I relate to Thea so much, because that was me too. And I think Soren would be the jock. Soren and Eric would both be the jocks for sure. Blaze would be like the sensitive artist type, like, you know, so hanging out in the art room, like always has like paint on his clothes, that kind of thing. Artemisia would be the she'd be that like girl that you're like a little bit afraid of, but like also like envious of. Probably a little bit goth. Yeah. And then Heron would be, I feel like he'd be like the bookish, nerdy, like sweet kid that like is also very quiet. Yeah.
I could see them all also getting like together.
They'd be like a breakfast
club
like situation.
A breakfast club. I love that.
Yeah.
So now we are going to put together our hot pink icing.
Yes.
So what do we do for this part?
So I have a cup of powdered sugar, and then I have some fresh squeezed grapefruit juice. So first we're gonna add by the tablespoon. I'm gonna start with 2. And then we're gonna stir that and kind of see where we're at, and maybe add a little more. But we want it to be like a nice like gluey consistency. We'll do a little more, just a smidge.
Might as well. to add the flavor.
Yeah, I mean, the more juice we use, the better it's gonna taste. So cool. All right, so now this is admittedly the first time I've used this particular kind of icing, which is in like a little packet, but we'll see how it goes. Okay. Ooh. Alright, so we'll see how this goes.
Oh, it's gonna be so pink. I love it.
It's great. Yep, and I think that's a good consistency. So now let's ice it.
Yes, so excited.
So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pour this gloopy mess
the whole thing
in the middle. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm an icing fiend, so this sounds good to me.
Yes, and the good thing about this is that it is so thick that you don't have to worry about it. Like, it can be like a really thick icing. And then we're just gonna spread it out like we're making pizza.
This is like a hot pink pizza. I love it.
Yes. Yes, perfect. So now we're gonna take the salt and just sprinkle it. You'll think you're putting too much on, but it's not. You want a good dose of salt to cut through all the sugar.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yes, so that's it. And now we're gonna wait for the icing to harden a bit, and then we'll cut it into little pizza slices.
Oh, so it's like
it is
legit
gonna look,
pizza.
It is gonna look a lot like a pizza.
It's perfect.
But yeah, I mean, it makes it easy to eat, right? That's the goal.
Portability.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so we finished our grapefruit shortbread cookies.
Yes.
I'm so excited to try these. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, that is so good. Oh my goodness.
It's got a lot of flavor to it, right?
So flavorful.
Thanks. And so easy. They were so easy.
Oh my gosh. These are so good. So I'm curious, what character from the book do you think would like steal the most of these to satisfy their sweet tooth?
Definitely Arin.
Arin?
I feel like it would be Arin. Yeah. I feel like he's definitely got a sweet tooth.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. And it matches the cover so
I
perfectly.
It worked out really well.
So if you currently were not an author, what do you think that you would be doing with your life right now?
I mean, I'm not just saying this because we just made cookies, but I think I would like open a bakery. Like, I feel like I would like enjoy having a bakery. Though I feel like that's like something that like seems a lot cooler in like rom-coms than it probably actually is. Like, I feel like it would be not as glamorous as it is in my mind, but like, yeah.
But so now that the Ash Princess trilogy has concluded, can you give us like any insight on what you're working now or what we can expect from you in the future?
So I have 2 books out next year in 2021. The first I can talk about. It's an adult book that comes out I think next spring. And it is a King Arthur retelling from the point of view of the Lady of Shalott.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sounds so cool.
I'm so excited. It's something I've been working on it since I was 17. So it's been a long time in the making. And I've written and rewritten it over and over and over again. Which I guess was like the only time I edited it. I actually edited. Don't know why it's so hard to say that word. It was the only real time I edited anything. And yeah, but I didn't really know how to do it, so I just like start over from scratch every time. But yeah, now it's coming out. It's coming out from Ace Berkeley from Penguin Random House, like a whole tree. But yeah, it's coming out from them. I'm really excited to get to talk about it more. It's called Half Sick of Shadows. And then my next YA will come out next fall. And I can't say too much about that yet.
Authors never can.
But I've been pitching it as my teen Princess Bride spy book. Which I think kind of tells you everything you need to know, really.
Definitely. So Laura, thank you so much for baking with me today, making these incredible cookies, and for being on my channel. If you are interested in following Laura or checking out any of her books, I will link all of that in the description down below. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon for a new one.
Bye. Thank you.